Here are 2 tips I think you should know straight from the get-go. As soon as you gain access to the VIP showroom where all the main loot is being held, the lead guard will start to venture into this room for his normal route. This might not be apparent for some players until it's too late, and this also goes for other missions as well if you were to be playing them on Overkill. So always ensure downed civilians are tucked out of the way and out of plain sight, just in case if someone walks into the room that you thought would be safe. The second tip would be, if you want to loot the starting area that's not blocked off to the public, you will need to complete the VIP area first and then move on to the more dangerous task of doing the starting room. On Overkill, you only have 2 radios, and technically you can push that to 3, but the problem with that, if you start to use and cancel the 3rd radio, it will cause a search, and this will make things extremely difficult to work around. So yes, if you want to see that specific video on how I can complete both areas, then make sure to leave a comment, as it will take a lot of work to do, but I will consider making one if enough people want to see it. I will also be making Overkill guides for all missions to do with Payday 3, so if you like the format of this video and find it beneficial, then consider getting subscribed to not miss out on future guides that I make and bring out on this channel. So with that being said and done, let's now move into the guide. Firstly, I'll be making all of my guides as easy as possible for all levels of players, and that goes the same for the items and skills where I think I can get away with them. So for this Dirty Ice Overkill stealth mission, you will only need a silenced pistol. Everyone should be able to equip and modify their pistol to attach a silencer by simply clicking on the pistol in their loadout and pressing R to get to the barrel extension. After that, you're all good to go, and there's no need for any level ups prior to starting, making this mission ideal for most players. Straight away, which can be quite important, as you can see in the bottom left on Overkill, you can't destroy cameras and the lead guards will have unlimited radios. This doesn't mean you can't use it once and buy yourself a 1-minute window, but at the same time you don't want to be taking this guard out at all if possible. The last thing I'll say about this guide is if you look at the bottom of the screen or in the description, you'll see that I've broken down this video into certain segments, meaning if you was struggling with a certain point, you can just skip to that part that you're struggling with, otherwise just keep playing the video from here to watch and learn everything about this mission. So when starting this mission, there are only 2 things you need to know: which code is it to get into the building, and secondly who is holding the blue keycards. We're going to start off with the code since that one can have 3 different outcomes, and the first place is to go in straight into the building and check the employee of the month. Sometimes that code can actually work, like as you're seeing here, but let's say that didn't work for you and now you need to figure out which other code is working for you. So in this case, what you're going to do is walk to the left hand side of the alleyway, and just by that car you should see a phone on the floor, and if you don't, it will be further along on top of a crate. One of these will give you a QR code to get into the building, and then we're going to go to the Wi-Fi code since that is the next easiest one to do. So you're going to walk to the end of the building, and then you can see on the whiteboard where my code is 3366. For yourself it's going to be different, but that is where you find the Wi-Fi password. You can then walk through whichever way you want to get back to the outside and down the alleyway to then put in the code for yourself to see if that'll work. Again, I'm just showing you all of these examples, so again that one works for me. But now let's say that one didn't work for you either, then the last one is going to be in the VIP showroom. This one is considered the hardest one to do, so don't worry if you do struggle to do this. You simply need a QR code to get into the building like you have before, and then follow along the hallway to the left hand side into the manager's office. There will be a potential of 3 different locations of where the phone will be, and that will either be on the desk, on the table, or by the couch on the red sofa. So from here all you need to do is get over to the VIP showroom by using that code to get in, and then from here you can either sneak in, you can get caught. It doesn't really matter from this point because either way you will need to restart the mission, but I can explain that in a moment. So as you can see, the code was 5135, and just as another alternative, sometimes the code will be in that little small room just there. So as we run out, we try this code, and obviously this one works to show that again the purpose of the video. So that is all 3 code locations, and this will be extremely important to know. The next part is going to be getting the key cards. The 2 people on the outside are going to be the ones that could potentially have the blue key cards, and that's the one for the security cameras, and the one in the basement will most likely have the red key cards since that's the one to get into the actual vault, which again I'll show you later on. Now once you know which people are holding your keycards and where to get them, you're going to want to restart. Now you might be wondering, why do you want to restart? You've got the codes to get into the building and you know which people have the keycards. You might even have them on yourself right now. But the reason why is because as soon as you enter the building, from the front, the side anyway, or even on the other side, the manager's timer will start to count down. Now it's not actually visible, but as you can see from this example, the manager left in just over 3 minutes. And this typically on Overkill is anywhere between 3 minutes and 3 minutes 20 seconds. Once this manager leaves, you won't be able to gain access to the room to where you need to clean all your bags of loot. So that's why it's so crucial to restart once you know which code it is to enter the building and where to get the blue key card to get the cameras down nice and quickly. So on this run through, as you can see, I go down the right hand alleyway because I know that's the security guard that's holding the blue key card, and that's at least for myself. Once I've grabbed the blue key card, I go back up the stairs and keep to my left to basically get round for the QR code. It's actually not just for that, because I like to get this middle gate open as well to give me access of when I'm leaving the building, and especially got my gun out at the same time. And once you've got the gate open, you might as well get your QR code and then you're all good to go. For yourself, you're already going to know which code it is to get into the building, and you've already got the blue key card before the manager's timer even starts. So before entering the basement, always remember there are going to be plenty of cameras laid around, so stay crouched at all times and just wait for a good opportunity to follow the guards and then take the key cards. And as well, make sure you're not seen by the cameras when you take the cards, otherwise you will be put under arrest straight away. For yourself, if the guard is in the same sort of position, you can just wait behind these bins in this corner and then wait for him to walk away, as you'll have a good opportunity of seeing him walk off. From here, it's just a case of walking back down the stairs and getting into the room. For yourself, the guards might be in a different part of the basement and you might be able to walk straight into the security room. From here, it's basically the same as normal. Take out the guards and put them in the corner somewhere, and always make sure to shut the door behind you on the way out. I failed the mission a couple of times from not shutting this door, so always make sure you do that. It can be so annoying when you make such good progress and then forget to shut the door. It's all about taking your time when going around corners, because you don't want the guards spotting you again after going through all this process. For yourself, the next best thing to do is to always unlock the safe first before turning off the power. This might only save you a few seconds, but the lady has to finish talking before you can take pictures of the documents, so it's always best to do the safe first, then the power, and then go and take the pictures. Again, it's always worth taking your time when leaving any room that you've just come from. In this case, the AIs were able to spot them for me, giving me a good heads up of where the guard was. Now that room I didn't need to shut the door because there are no guards inside. Now, as a major tip which I will be saying later, always stay crouched when you're walking around new parts of the building. As a good example here, there was a guard that came around the corner, so I had to sprint down the stairs and shut the door. If I was to be sprinting around the corner at that time, he definitely would have seen me and the mission would have been over. Normally, if you was to sprint away from a guard, then they would actually be wanting to try and search for you. They will try and follow you, but while you're in the basement, there are going to be a few places you can hide. Now, going up these stairs, I did miss a crucial point of placing a camera in the corner, but I will be coming back to this later, but I thought I'd mention it now because this is normally the time you place the camera. Now, if you've been following this guide, you actually don't need to go into the manager's room for the QR code because you already have one on you and you've already entered the building. But it's always a good step to have the manager's room unlocked just for easier access later on. So now you'll use the code to get into the VIP showroom and get the civilian down, and then go towards the biometric scanner to start the next bit of the mission. By going over to the scanner, you'll be activating the first part of the manager to get them over and get them captured. For the civilian in the room, you can kill them if you want, but you've got plenty of time to just get them down and tie them up, so that's the best thing I would do for yourself. Now, as you can see, this is the exact tile that you should be placing your camera on because it has a great angle of both the left and right hand hallway, giving you perfect opportunity to see guards coming in towards you before they even reach you. From here, what you're going to want to do is now head towards the manager's office and now activate that phone call. And again, that's why you want the manager's door unlocked, again for easier access in and out. So now that you call from the manager, over some time they'll then eventually walk into the VIP showroom, and at this point you can then get them down and use them for the VIP scanner. I like to get the camera in position for later on, and don't worry, the guards won't be coming in this early on, but they will be coming in later. Once the manager comes across, you just need to throw them across to the biometric scanner and then enter the room. I personally like to put them near the closed door because I find that's the best place for them in case you do leave the door open on the left hand side and the lead guard is standing in the VIP showroom who can then see straight into it. So always make sure to place them near the closed door, or at least on the right hand side somewhere, to give yourself the best chances possible of not being seen. Now you can really see why this camera is so important, because you can see all the guards from the outside and it gives you a good awareness of where the guards are going to be. So from here, it's just a case of starting to get your loot and then put them into that scanner to make sure they get cleaned, and then you get more money for it. You can technically take the bags as they are, but you get more money for cleaning them, so that's something you should always be trying to do. And now it's all just a case of repeating the process of getting the loot and checking the camera for when the guards might be coming around. Always make sure to be taking out the loot from the scanner, because if you leave it inside, it won't be scanning the next part of the loot you might already have set up. So from this example, as you can see, the lead guard does come into the VIP showroom, and he'll always stand in that corner where you can just about tag him, so that's why you always want your civilians and bags of loot to the right hand side in case this door is left open and then the lead guard still won't see you. So from here it is just a case of waiting, and once he leaves you've got plenty of time to then collect all the loot that you need inside. I have sometimes noticed that the random guard will walk in, but it's very unlikely to happen to yourself, it is normally just the lead guard. Also, just quickly, in case you skipped over the first time of me saying this, make sure to get subscribed because I will be making guides for all missions to do with Payday 3 and they will all be to do with Overkill. Now in this next situation, I know that we've got one lead guard that enters the VIP showroom and 2 guards that walk around the hallway. Now these 2 guards will be walking outside every now and then, so I want to make sure that one of these guards goes down. When the lead guard walks away, I know I've got some time when he walks off, and the other guard in the top left has just walked down the stairs, so that gives me a perfect opportunity that one guard is walking around somewhere. So for myself, I start walking towards the hallway, and while I'm looking for them, in this case they actually just walk into me, making this nice and simple. Now if that civilian behind me was actually to turn around and watch me, in this situation I would actually just shoot them and kill them, because I don't want to run the risk of them running off when I need to answer the radio. This might be different for yourself, you might have more time, it might happen later on once you've killed the person or done the radio, so for yourself you just do the situation how you need to. And as always, place anyone in that corner to make sure that they're out of the way. In this next situation, you are now taking the bags of loot to the vehicle, but if you was to have a friend, which I will show a clip at the end of this video, can make this part super easy and almost no chance of failing the mission if you was to do it correctly. But in this case, I'm going to show you how I do it on single player with a couple of different routes and things to look out for. So for yourself, if you are playing solo, you want to make sure you check those cameras before you even make any move. Again, I did leave that door open for easy access, and that is only ever acceptable as long as you have no dead people in that area, which there really shouldn't be on Overkill considering the lead guard be walking in there anyway. On the way towards the van, there will be that one civilian who stands there every single time. Now you could try and get them down. For myself, I actually do prefer to kill the civilian for a good reason later on, which I will be showing you. But for now, just throw your bag of loot into the van and go back and collect the person. From here I'm going to show you the big reason of why I pick up the civilian. As I walk back through the gate and then go to the left hand side, I actually notice the guard is coming straight through the hallway, and I noticed them last seconds. Now if I had someone following me, there is no doubt that that person would have been seen by the lead guard, or even the civilian walking down the hallway. I personally preferred to kill that civilian outside and then bring him back through and put him on the right hand side with the others. Now if you had a camera on the left hand alleyway, or maybe you've just seen the lead guard has been missing for quite some time, there's a good chance that they are in the left hand alleyway, and now you might want to be using this window to actually pop through and then take this bag of loot to the van. The one risk with this one is that there might be a guard on the right hand stairs, so there's always a risk depending on which route you take, but just try and do it based off what you've seen through your cameras of which way the guards have been going. A nice little tip before you enter the building is to always check that camera in the hallway and find out where that lead guard is. Once you know where the lead guard is, that is already one guard that you know guaranteed will be walking into the main area, and he's then guaranteed to be out the way for a while. So for myself, I can now walk back in, and I've just got to keep an eye out for that single guard, and then basically just make my same route of leaving the building and checking the camera just before I enter the hallway. And this way I've now got a clear route through the left hand alleyway because I saw the lead guard went into the main part of the building. So then you can literally just blitz this bit and repeating the process until you get all of them out. I will be showing you at the end as well of how you want to get into the main vault, and with what I've been saying about checking the cameras every single time of when you take this bag of loot out, you can see the guard in the top right is standing by the Wi-Fi passwords, but then the lead guard decides to walk in through the left hand side. Now if I didn't check my camera, I would have definitely been seen and that would have been the mission over. Luckily they both split off at this point, so I know I've got another opportunity to go through the left hand alleyway and then make it towards the van. And now from this point there's only going to be 1 to 2 more bags, and it's just a case of repeating the process and collecting any little bits of loot along the way. And I'm also showing you this one more time to show you the process of how I've been doing this, and at the same time this was the final bag of loot I did before ending the mission. Now I didn't show you how to get into the vault or do in the main area of the building because that's just going to add risk to the mission, and this is the easiest way of completing it. If you was to be following this guide you should have completed the mission by now, but don't worry, I've got many tips in just a moment that are going to really elevate your game. What I would normally do from this point is once I got my bags into the van is then I would go to the vault to get the emerald by using the manager, and then from there I might even just leave the mission or then start to go crazy and try and do the main part of the building and then leave by using the flare. But for now, let's move on to these tips since these are going to really help you in your game, especially if you want to be doing the main area at the same time. Let's start off with the most important to most of you, and that's dealing with the vault and collecting the emerald. For this you will need the manager to be in her office, and you will also need the red keycard, but as long as you've been following this guide up until this point, that should be on you already. Then what you want to do is wait for the lead guard to walk into the main area of the building to the right hand side, and then you only have one other guard to look out for. When the coast is clear, drag the manager into their office and throw them against this button. If you was to be doing this from a fresh game, then when you call for the manager using the phone, she will walk right into the office herself, making this nice and easy for you. After the manager presses the button, you need to run to this keycard position to open the vault. I like to then wait until I know the guard won't be in my way, since you either need to cut the glass or picklock it to get to the stone, and either way is up to you since they take a similar amount of time. So that is how you get into the vault for anyone wanting to know, and now we can finally move on to the tips, and a lot of these I would have said already, but I'll repeat some of them just in case if some of you may have skipped to this point and just wanted to see the tips. The first tip, excluding the two at the beginning of the video, would be to find the security guard who holds the blue keycard and get the cameras down as quickly as possible. Most missions will have a lot of cameras, and as long as you only restart the mission and never come off fully, this person holding the keycard will never change, making it easier to do it the next time if you need to give it another go. The next tip for this mission specifically would be to kill one of the hallway guards, since both of them walk through at random times, and when you put the lead guard into the mix, this can make it very difficult to do the mission with all three of them walking around. Thirdly, as I've mentioned before, the manager's timer will start once you enter the building. This means you want to find out what code you need to get into the building and then find out who's holding both the keycards. Once you know this, you should restart the mission and give it a proper go with the best time advantage possible, just in case if you need to take things extra slow. Talking of taking things slow, most missions including this one benefit from you staying crouched and moving slowly throughout the mission. Even if you feel like the cameras or guards will spot you, it's still worth staying crouched the whole time because the bar will just go up more rapidly if you try and make a quick escape. But I will say it can be worth sprinting in certain situations. For example, if you know the guard is coming around the corner but they can't see you as of yet, then this can make some sense to sprint away. If you happen to have a friend that plays this with you, then just ask them to keep their mask off the entire time, and there's going to be two major reasons for this. The first reason why, if you're able to follow this guide and are able to get to the point of where you need to take the bags of loot to the van, then your friend can actually just pick up the bags and smoothly walk out of the building without any issues. Just make sure to not have any downed civilians or dead guards by the door when you open this, because for some reason it tends to make them feel uncomfortable. On a side note, hit that like button if you've enjoyed this video so far, as this will be a great indicator to me if you want to be seeing more Payday guides like this one. Right back to the second reason on why you need your friend for overkill. As you probably know by now, you don't have enough radios to kill all the guards in the back area of the building and also in the main starting area. So again, if you followed this guide up until the looting stage, you'll want your friend to have the social engineering skill on to capture the rest of the loot in the main area without having too many major problems. What this basically means, excluding guards, if you was to have rush on you, which should be pretty easy with the grifter skill, your friend will be able to picklock the extra jewelry areas at certain times, even with the employees walking around. It would also be a good idea to close all the blinds before doing this, since this can reduce the chances of someone seeing you anyway, especially when you open the doors to clean the jewelry. The last tip I will say, which you might already know about the micro camera, and that will be to place this camera in the corner of the hallway where I showed you in the video. This camera will be vital to you to know where the guards will be, especially with the lead guard, since you never want to try and kill him. And that also goes to say you could benefit from placing a camera in the left hand alleyway to get an optimal view of where this lead guard will be if you don't know where he was already. Now there might not be another video on Payday just yet, but when there is, I'll place it on screen for you now just in case if you was watching this in the future. And have a look at this hilarious amnesia video I did with my girlfriend. I got mocked quite a lot, but it was all good fun doing that. And here's two other story games that I've been playing if you fancy checking them out as well. And as always, thank you for watching this Payday 3 Dirty Ice Overkill fully stuffed guide. Wow, that's a long title. And as always, have a great rest of your day.